Few forces are more powerful than the desire to be loved.
She wanted what she saw other people have. She wanted it so bad that anybody could have came along and swept her off her feet.
When they met, she felt like she had finally found her person. She was all in.
When it finally takes hold, it can feel like nothing else matters.
This was her first serious relationship. This was deeper than anything she had ever known.
But those who are smitten can sometimes lose their grip on reality.
We've all had bad moments. Some moments are worse than others.
She lost her sense of perspective and did things that in the cold light of day seemed absurd.
And when that happens, a bad situation can spiral into something far worse.
I don't think anyone expected that this was going to turn out the way that it did.
Love is not defined by how far you're willing to go to prove your love to someone.
July 30th, 2022, Tacoma, Washington. It's nearly daybreak in the port city located along Puget Sound, 30 miles south of Seattle.
Tacoma got the nickname the City of Destiny because it was picked as the western endpoint of the Northern Pacific Railroad back in the 1800s.
Tacoma's a really special community to me. I mean, it's just very vibrant in its diversity. It's a working class, gritty city. It's a very progressive community.
You see all these different kind of people. It's just different cultures blending together.
But the city also has its darker side. The crime rate is high, nearly 3 times the national average.
2022 was a really bad year for homicides. It was the worst on record. So I was writing about homicide practically, every day, every other day.
At 5:23 a.m., a 911 call comes into the Tacoma police dispatcher reporting a gunfight in the parking lot of an AM/PM gas station. The caller also reports that one of the 2 men engaged in the shootout has fled on foot.
When police arrive on the scene, they find a black male lying on the ground near the passenger side front bumper of a black sports car.
The man was unresponsive, so officers immediately began CPR to revive him at the scene.
Another officer sees a man standing near the entrance to the convenience store. The man identifies himself as Christopher Butler.
The officers talked to Butler, who said he is homeless and lives in his minivan. He usually parks in the neighborhood overnight, but this morning he was in his van in front of the convenience store when the shooting occurred.
Butler says that he was sitting there and a black sports car arrived and parked next to his van. He had a casual conversation with the driver, a black male around the age of 40. Butler says that's the same man that's now lying in the parking lot.
Paramedics with the Tacoma Fire Department arrive and take over the rescue efforts. They notice a large pool of blood around the man's body, as well as significant bleeding near his face and neck.
Paramedics noticed several gunshot wounds to his legs.
The situation is dire. It's clear that major arteries in his legs have been struck. And just minutes later, he's pronounced dead at the scene.
Butler tells the officer that there was someone else inside the sports car, a black woman sitting in the front passenger seat.
He says that at one point the woman got out of the car and ran into the store. He describes her as 5'8", maybe 5'9". She had a dark complexion with a weave in her hair.
He says that when he first saw the man and woman, they were sitting in the car smoking and seemed to be talking and laughing.
Butler says the car was in the gas station parking lot for nearly an hour. And during this time, the man moved the car into different spots in the lot.
At one point, the man moved the car to the parking lot in the strip mall adjacent to the gas station.
Butler informs the officer that around 5:20 a.m., he heard shouts from the direction of the sports car.
He heard a man yell, "What are you doing in my car?"
He saw the driver and another guy in the front of the car. And that's when he heard 7 to 10 shots ring out.
Butler saw the car's driver fall to the ground. The other man then fled from the vehicle, running in a northbound direction.
He described the male as being 35 years old, standing about 5'10", wearing a baggy red pullover-style hoodie.
He said he thought he must have been wearing a mask or something. He didn't get a good look at his face. And because of that, he felt he would not be able to identify him.
Seconds later, the woman who had been in the passenger seat of the sports car marched over to Butler and told him she had to leave.
With that, she began walking quickly away from the store. She headed in the same direction as the other man.
The driver's license described the victim as 39-year-old Ronald Hines.
Ronald Hines was born in 1983 to Ronald and Bertha Hines.
Ronald's upbringing seemed stable, and he had 2 loving parents. He had the kind of childhood that most people would say it was normal.
He appeared to be a productive member of society. He had 2 kids that he loved so much. At the core, it was a very strong family unit.
And Ronald seemed determined to help those who did not have the same good fortune.
He was a God-fearing man who would do good deeds for strangers that he met on the street.
He helped some people get back to school and others find God.
His parents talked about how he would help people find jobs. He would also help them get medical assistance and put rules over their heads.
Tacoma police now have Ronald's murder investigation on their hands. Detectives and other police units immediately converge on the gas station.
One of the officers instantly recognizes the black sports car as a vehicle he had conducted a traffic stop on 90 minutes prior to the shooting.
During the stop, Ronald Hines was identified as the driver. He had a passenger, a black female, approximately 20 to 30 years of age, who was wearing an orange shirt. The officer noted that her hair appeared to be styled with dreadlocks.
At the time of the stop, the officer did not ask the woman for identification.
At that point, there was no reason to ask the woman for identification because it was the driver who had committed the infraction.
And he gave the officer his license. It was Ronald Hines.
At the time of the stop, the officers ran the name Ronald Hines through their computer systems and learned that he was listed as a protected person in an order with a woman named Tiana Williams.
The officer runs Tiana Williams through the police computer database and finds a Washington state driver's license, as well as several booking photos.
The officer looked at the photos of Tiana Williams and determined that she was a match for the woman that he had seen in Ronald Hines' car earlier that night.
They also find that there's a current protection order for Hines against Tiana Williams. This means that she must have threatened him at some point, enough so that he got an order to keep her away.
Detectives believe they've uncovered a suspect in the murder of Ronald Hines. Tiana Williams.
She was with him 90 minutes before during the car stop, so this means she was likely with him at the gas station.
She's also the same woman who fled the scene, headed in the same general direction as the man who shot Hines. But the big question is, where is she now?
A shooting in the parking lot of a Tacoma, Washington gas station has left 39-year-old Ronald Hines dead. Police believe they've identified the woman in the car with Hines before the shooting, 29-year-old Tiana Williams.
But why was Williams with him that night? And was she involved with his shooting in the gas station parking lot?
Detectives process the crime scene. Near Ronald Hines' body is a .40 caliber handgun.
Detectives believe the trigger of the gun was likely shot off, suggesting that Hines was unable to return fire as he was being shot.
At this same area, crime scene technicians find 15 9mm shell casings.
Detectives meet with the manager of the gas station. He provides them with video from surveillance cameras that monitor the parking lot.
This is a huge break for detectives. That means that all of the activity leading up to the murder has been caught on tape.
The video shows Hines' black sports car pull into the parking lot at 4:24 a.m., just a few minutes after his traffic stop.
The video confirms there was a young woman in the car, and she was sitting in the front passenger seat.
Hines parks his vehicle at the convenience store. The woman gets out and goes inside. A few minutes later, she comes out and makes contact with a man standing outside the store.
It appears as though they know each other as they talked for several moments outside of the store. Then she gets back into the sports car with Hines.
Over the next hour, Hines moves his car around various spots in the parking lot and to the east in the neighboring strip mall. At 5:22 a.m., a man approaches the gas station on foot.
The man comes from behind the sports car and immediately walks up to the window, which is rolled down.
The man appears to be holding a handgun, and it looks like he points the weapon inside the window.
The video shows Ronald Hines open the driver's side door and step out of his car.
There isn't any audio, but you can see that the two men appear to be firing at each other over the top of the vehicle. The other man seems to chase Hines around the vehicle.
The man eventually catches up to Hines in front of the vehicle, shooting him in the legs, causing him to fall to the ground.
With Hines on the ground, the man walks up and shoots him in the head.
Hines seemed defenseless as the man fired at his head. It looked like an execution.
The surveillance video then shows a woman getting out of the sports car.
As she exits, she comes eye to eye with the suspect. Detectives don't see any reaction from her, so they can't really tell if they know each other or not.
She walks towards the convenience store, past the witness, Christopher Butler.
The video shows the suspect then go to the car and rummage through it.
It's not really clear if the man took anything out of the car. He then goes back to Ronald Hines' body lying on the ground.
He digs through Hines' pants pockets and appears to take something out of his pocket, possibly a cell phone, although it's not really clear.
The suspect runs away from the scene in a northerly direction. The woman is also seen headed in a northerly direction.
Detectives study the woman on the tape, and she appears to match the woman seen on the body cam video of the traffic stop an hour earlier.
As detectives study the surveillance video from an adjacent parking lot, they notice a second vehicle, a dark-colored sedan.
The vehicle was suspicious because it was driving through the parking lot with its headlights off. And it also looked like it was keeping tabs on Ronald Hines.
As Hines moved his sports car around the parking lot, the sedan moved around, attempting to keep him in view.
The fact that the sedan was in the parking lot for an extended period of time early in the morning, that told investigators that it probably played a role in this murder.
Police create a bulletin with images of the suspect from the surveillance video, as well as information on the suspicious sedan. That bulletin is distributed to Tacoma Police and other law enforcement agencies throughout the state.
This is the best way to get the word out about this vehicle, in the hopes that someone will spot it.
As day breaks, Tacoma Police bring in a canine unit in an attempt to track down the suspect.
The canine was able to follow the track for about 100 yards or so, but eventually it lost the scent. They were not able to locate the suspect or the woman.
We got nothing down here.
Detectives focus on mapping out Ronald Hines' movements prior to the shooting. They know he was pulled over for a traffic violation about an hour before the incident. As patrol officers continue searching for the couple, detectives receive a call from a patrol officer who was reviewing footage from a motel a mile south from where Hines' car was stopped.
The officer observed Hines and Williams in the motel parking lot and then reached out to detectives on the case to pass on the information.
Investigators go to the motel and learn from an employee that a party took place at the motel that night.
They think that Hines and Williams may have been coming from the party when they were stopped, so detectives are eager to comb through the footage.
The surveillance video from the motel shows the parking lot filled with people congregating there, talking and drinking.
At approximately 3 a.m. on the video, investigators spot a woman who appears to be Tiana Williams.
But Williams is not with Ronald Hines. The video shows her with another man who appears to be
heading in the same direction as Ronald Hines.
For detectives, the videos are like watching a silent movie. They see the various people moving around, but there's no audio. So it's hard to determine exactly what the motivations are. Still, it does link all of these people together.
The only person that police believe they have identified is Tiana Williams. So detectives concentrate on contacting her.
They reach out to family members, but they claimed that they are no longer in contact with Tiana and did not know where she was located.
Detectives tried every conceivable method to contact Williams, but she seems to have vanished.
August 10th, 2022. Almost 2 weeks into the investigation of Ronald Hines' murder, Tacoma police have hit a dead end. While the shooting itself was caught on surveillance video, police have no clue who the suspect may be.
They believe that they've identified his accomplice, a 29-year-old woman named Tiana Williams. But efforts to locate her have gone nowhere.
Their hope is that someone will come forward and help them to identify a sedan seen in the gas station parking lot.
Then detectives catch a break. They're notified by the Pierce County Sheriff's Department that they've located a sedan that matches the description of the missing car about 7 miles southeast of the crime scene.
The vehicle has been impounded and towed to Tacoma Police Headquarters to be searched.
That afternoon, police receive a phone call from a 24-year-old woman named Tyshell Ellis Dorsey, who was inquiring about her sedan that had been impounded.
Detectives ask Tyshell to come to police headquarters for an interview. They want to find out if she has any information about the shooting. Tyshell Ellis was born in Tacoma, Washington, to a single mother.
I got pregnant with Tyshell when I was 17. I didn't do it on purpose, but I felt like because of how she was conceived, I felt like it was meant for her to be here.
Tyshell knew grief at an early age. Her father died when she was just 5 years old. Still, Tyshell showed much promise as she entered school.
She was a very intelligent child. She got very good grades in school. She has this really bubbly, fun personality. She always makes people smile.
She's always been happy. She's always been extroverted. And she's always been that person to pick you up. I mean, sky's the limit for her.
Tired of the unending rain, Sanao moved the family to Texas when Tyshell was 12.
We have like maybe 2 months of summer and sun, and then it's gray. It's depressing sometimes. Here I wanted my girls to see there's more out there.
They later moved to Georgia to be near Sanao's father.
My father wanted us to move there. He wanted a relationship with his granddaughters and with me, and that didn't work out quite well.
Sanao decided to move the family back home again to Washington. But she needed to lean hard on her now 20-year-old daughter.
She worked so that she could give me the money for us to come home. She also drove the truck because I was scared to drive the truck. So don't worry, Mommy, I got it. Without her, I don't know if I would have made it through a lot of things.
In Tacoma, Tyshell took a job at a local gas station convenience store. She would eventually cross paths with Malik Patterson, a man with a similarly difficult past.
Malik was born in Tacoma, but his family moved around a lot.
As a child and young teen, he enjoyed sports and was constantly outside, riding bicycles with friends or playing basketball.
Malik never knew his father and found a mentor in his grandfather.
In high school, he got involved in criminal activity. When Malik's grandfather died, his bad behavior escalated a lot.
He met Tyshell through a mutual friend and hit her up every day on Facebook. They quickly became inseparable, going out to hookah bars or simply hanging out at Tyshell's apartment.
Malik just got out of a relationship with the mother of his child and was still trying to get past that, so he wanted to keep their relationship chill.
But Tyshell seems like she's all in. She'd never really been in a serious relationship before, so she wanted to be in one badly.
She felt like all of her friends had kids or they were in relationships, and she kind of felt left out. And I would remind her everybody has their time, so you don't have to rush to find anybody, and find the right guy.
Now Tyshell is at a police station to be questioned about her car that appears to be connected to Ronald Hines' murder.
Tyshell told police that she had purchased the vehicle from someone in Pasco, Washington. The car was still registered in the other woman's name because Tyshell was still trying to save up money to transfer the ownership.
Detectives ask her if she had gone to a party at a motel on July 30th, 2022. Tyshell says that she did.
So they show her an aerial photograph of the parking lot, and she confirms the location of the vehicle, which coincides with the surveillance video.
Tyshell said she had gone to the party to see a man named Malik Patterson, who she had been dating for approximately 1 month.
Tyshell Ellis Dorsey shows Malik Patterson's Facebook profile to detectives.
They took one look at Malik Patterson and immediately saw a striking resemblance to the shooting suspect.
Detectives asked her about the party, and Tyshell said she was highly intoxicated that night, but remembered Malik at the party with other males. She said all the males were carrying firearms.
Detectives ask her what happened to her car that night. She claims the vehicle was stolen.
She said that she was in her room on the second story of the motel. Someone yelled up from the parking lot to the room and asked her where her car was located. At that time, she noticed that her keys and vehicle were missing.
Tashelle looked around and realized that Malik Patterson was no longer at the party, and she began to wonder if he had taken her keys and her car.
With her car gone, she began walking home. She lived quite a distance away, so she called her cousin and asked him to pick her up and take her home.
Tashelle tells detectives that sometime the next day, she received an anonymous phone call.
She said the caller told her that her car had been on the 8800 block of Waller Road. She got a ride from her cousin and sure enough, found her vehicle there. The problem was she didn't have the keys to her car and therefore couldn't drive it home. She asked her cousin to call a tow truck and had the vehicle towed back to her residence in Parkland.
Tashelle says she later asked Malik Patterson about her car, but he denied any involvement in taking it away from the party.
Detectives obviously wanted to find Malik Patterson immediately. So they asked Tashelle if she is still in touch with him. But she says he changed his phone number shortly thereafter, and he has rarely communicated with her since.
Detectives then show her screenshots of the motel parking lot, which include her and the man they believed was the suspected shooter.
The man was wearing a long-sleeved red shirt, dark-colored shorts, and a beanie cap. Tashelle told detectives that he looked like Malik Patterson, but she couldn't be sure because of the distance.
So investigators showed her another video of the person, and she immediately identified him as the man that she had been dating, Malik Patterson.
Based on the identification, police now have probable cause to arrest Malik Patterson for first-degree murder.
Not only do they believe that Malik is the man who shot Ronald Hines, they also believe that he's the man that took Tashelle's sedan and drove it to the gas station.
But there's something that doesn't quite add up. The surveillance video shows Malik Patterson fleeing on foot, along with Tiana Williams. How did Tashelle's sedan get to the gas station where she found it the next day, which was several miles away?
The only explanation was that there was an accomplice. But who is that person, and what role did they play in the murder?
Detectives in Tacoma, Washington learned from Tashelle Ellis Dorsey that the man in the motel surveillance footage was her boyfriend, Malik Patterson. Police believe Malik may have had two accomplices, Tiana Williams, the woman who was presumably with Hines at the time of the shooting, and an unknown man who drove Tashelle's stolen sedan from the crime scene.
Detectives have been unable to locate Tiana Williams, and they only have a vague description of the man that was with her, so they've been unable to locate either suspect.
On August 16, 2002, Tacoma police arrest Malik Patterson at his house without incident. They also take two other men, brothers of Malik Patterson, in for questioning.
Police noted that both of Malik's brothers bore the same physical characteristics as the man who was the getaway driver of the sedan.
It would make sense, right? If Malik is at the motel party, he could easily be there with family members, and they could easily have left the party with him. So they brought both brothers in for questioning as well.
Tyrell Patterson Moore, one of the brothers, agrees to speak with investigators.
He denied being involved in the murder. He said he was not at the party at the motel that night, and he did not drive the sedan to the gas station.
What's interesting is when Tyrell Patterson Moore was shown surveillance videos, he identified his brother, Malik, as the one who shot Ronell Hines.
The other brother, Xavier Patterson, also denied playing any role in the murder.
He said he was not at the party at the motel that night. And as for driving the sedan, Xavier said he didn't even know how to drive, so he could not have driven the car.
Detectives eventually cleared both of Malik's brothers from any involvement in the crime.
Malik Patterson agrees to talk with detectives. He tells them that he remembers going to a party that night, but did not remember exactly where it was held.
He described that the location of the party was an old motel that had been turned into apartments.
He says that he went to a party with the girl he's seeing named Tashelle. she was either 23 or 24 years old, and that she picked him up in her car, a sedan.
Patterson says he was drinking and using drugs that night and remembered little about what happened.
He was drinking heavily. He had also done some meth. He said he had left the party at one point, but couldn't really recall where he went. He woke up at someone's home, but doesn't remember the location.
He said that pretty much the entire night was a blank.
Detectives ask him if he knows anything about his girlfriend's car being stolen.
He admitted that Tashelle called him the next day to say that the car was stolen, but he did not remember anything else.
Detectives also ask him if he knows anything about a shooting at a gas station. And he says he saw a story on Facebook where two people were shooting at each other, but doesn't know any more about it.
He basically denies everything. I don't know anything. I was too drunk. I don't remember.
Those are standard denials for someone who is involved in a crime. If they don't have an alibi, then say, I was too drunk to remember what happened. It's a way of deflecting responsibility away from you.
Detectives then show him photos from the motel surveillance video, pointing out Ronald Hines' black sports car.
Patterson looks at it and simply says, "I've never seen that car before."
Detectives show Malik another photo that includes the woman involved in the incident. But he says he can't make out the person due to the poor quality of the photo.
When they show him a second screenshot of the woman, Patterson identifies her as his girlfriend, Tashelle Ellis.
Detectives are dumbfounded. They ask him if he's sure, and he says yes, that he was with her the night of the incident.
They continue to press him, trying to get him to admit to the shooting. But he continues to claim that he doesn't know anything about it. Finally, he asks to call his mother, who he says was in touch with his lawyer. Once he does that, the interview is over.
Police transport Malik Patterson to the jail, where he is booked on charges of first-degree murder.
Detectives are certain that Malik Patterson is the man who shot and killed Ronald Hines. And police officers had previously identified Tiana Williams as the person that was with him. But he claimed the woman who was with him at the party was his girlfriend, Tashelle.
On the morning of Ronald Hines' murder, Tacoma police identified Tiana Williams as the woman who was with him when he was stopped by police for a driving infraction. But Malik Patterson, the man police believe shot Hines, now says the woman wasn't Tiana. It was his girlfriend, Tashelle Ellis Dorsey.
This is a key point. Hines had a restraining order against Tiana Williams. So investigators believe that this was likely the motivation for his murder, and she had been the passenger. But if it was Tashelle, then there must have been another reason for the shooting.
Faced with this contradiction, detectives re-examine the evidence in the case.
The first thing they did was review the surveillance footage from inside of the convenience store, because the woman with Hines had walked around the convenience store and purchased a beverage.
The footage captured several distinctive features on the woman, including multiple tattoos on her arm, including her shoulder, chest area. She was also wearing what appeared to be a weave and long false eyelashes.
When detectives interviewed Tashelle Ellis Dorsey on August 10th, she wore a long-sleeve jacket and cap.
Her clothing and hat concealed any tattoos on her arms, as well as her hairstyle.
They looked at the photos on Tashelle's Facebook profile and saw that she had the same tattoos on her arm as the woman in the convenience store.
Police had also dusted Ronald Hines' car for fingerprints. When they compared these latent prints to those on record for Tashelle, they find a match.
On the frame behind the right passenger door, they find the right palm print of Tashelle Ellis Dorsey. This proves that she was with Ronald Hines that night.
They now know that she lied to them in the first interview. So they go pick her up and they bring her in to talk again.
Tashelle is cooperative and agrees to talk to detectives. She admits driving Malik Patterson to the motel party on the night of the shooting. She tells them that a friend of Malik, who she knew only as Ali, told her a man at the party with a black sports car was showing off an expensive gun.
Ali tells her that the gun is really unique and it's worth up to $1,000. So he suggests that she cozy up to the man so that he and Malik can steal the gun from him. That man is Ronald Hines.
Tashelle tells detectives that she originally said no and then agreed to the plan. She was eager to be loved and accepted, so she went along with it.
Tashelle says she asked Hines if he would give her a ride. He agreed.
They left the motel party and got pulled over for a traffic violation. So Tashelle was the woman that police officers saw.
Tashelle asked Hines to stop at the gas station so that she could get something to drink. She was texting Malik the entire time, telling them where they were. Malik and Ali were driving in Tashelle's sedan.
Tashelle tells detectives she kept Hines at the gas station, waiting for Malik and Ali to come and rob him.
Hines wanted to take her to a party and became suspicious about her delays. She says she kept him at the location by claiming she needs to sober up a bit.
She didn't understand why it was taking Malik and Ali so long to make their move.
Finally, after nearly an hour, Malik approaches Hines's car.
So Malik says, "This is a robbery. Give me all your." Ronald gets out, pulls his own gun to defend himself.
Tashelle said that she put her head down and then heard a bunch of gunshots.
After the shooting stopped, she got out of the car and ran. She soon caught up with Malik. She believed Ali had been in her sedan and drove off, leaving them behind.
She says Malik tried calling Ali, but he didn't answer his phone. They walked around for a while, trying to gather themselves.
Ali eventually found them, although he was now driving another vehicle. He told Tashelle that he had ditched her car because he was afraid it would be connected to the crime.
He told her where her car was located, but he said that he had thrown her keys onto the freeway. The next day, she found her car where he said he had abandoned it. But since she didn't have the keys, she had it towed back to her house.
Police arrest Tashelle and book her on second-degree murder charges for helping set up the robbery of Ronald Hines that led to his murder.
Prosecutors aren't really sure that the charges against her will really stick. Tashelle claims that Malik's friend Ali was the mastermind of the plot, so police need to find him.
In the worst cases, it can lead to disastrous, even life-changing consequences.
Tashelle Ellis Dorsey has admitted to police that she lied in her initial interview and that she was asked by her boyfriend, Malik Patterson, to participate in the robbery of Ronald Hines. But she also claims that it was Malik's friend, a man she knew only as Ali, who actually concocted the plan.
If Tashelle's story is true, then this makes this man Ali just as culpable in the murder. So police want to track him down.
The problem is that Tashelle has no way to contact Ali. She didn't know his phone number, and she only knew him through Malik and had met him for the first time at the motel party.
Tashelle describes Ali as a black male with a slender build. She believes he was around 24 years old.
Detectives knew there was some corroboration for Ali's existence. Surveillance videos show a man fitting that description at the motel party. And they knew someone drove Tashelle's sedan from the gas station after the shooting.
Tashelle's actions after the shooting suggest that someone took her car and abandoned it, discarding the keys. The fact that she had to have her car towed back home the next day solidifies all of this.
But Malik Patterson, when questioned by detectives, made no mention of a friend at the motel party.
Not mentioning Ali could have just been a reluctance on the part of Malik to get his friend involved in the investigation.
So at this point, detectives think that Tashelle might be trying to minimize Malik's involvement in all of this. And so if she can try to take some of the blame off of him by creating this mastermind, then maybe things will go a little better for him.
Tashelle didn't want to lose Malik. She wanted to be loved. She wanted to hold on to this relationship. So it made sense to point the finger at someone else.
Police and investigators were never able to determine if Ali was the one who suggested robbing Hines, or if he was simply the getaway driver. And since they couldn't locate him, they decided to move forward with the case against Tashelle and Malik.
Prosecutors convinced Toshelle Ellis Dorsey and Malik Patterson to forego a trial and take a plea deal. On August 9, 2024, they each plead guilty to 1 count of second-degree murder. At the sentencing hearing, Toshelle expresses regret to the family of Ronald Hines.
I think she, felt a lot of guilt over it. She talked about, the grief that she's faced in her own life, how she had lost her father at a young age, or she was just, very remorseful over the fact that she had contributed to anything that could give a family the kind of, trauma that she had felt in her own life from losing her father.
I believe her greatest nightmare happened in front of her eyes of depriving children of their father. And it's something she's going to regret for the rest of her life and something she's going to think about for the rest of her life.
Toshelle, who had no prior criminal record, is sentenced to 10 years in prison. At Malik Patterson's sentencing hearing, he blames the robbery of Ronald Hines on his friend, Ali, who had fled the state.
He took responsibility for his role in the shooting, but plainly stated it was not his idea. And he also apologized to the family of Ronald Hines.
He clearly said he felt bad about what had happened and, was apologetic to the family, but I think it just wasn't as heartfelt as what Toshelle had to say.
Malik Patterson is sentenced to 18 years for his role in the murder. Some believe he should have paid a higher price.
You pulled the trigger. You set it up. We watched you on camera shoot that man in the back of his head. No, 18 years is enough. I don't believe in the death penalty. I do believe in sitting in a cell and being forced to think about your actions and how you affected those people. 18 years is not enough for what he did.
Malik Patterson blames his actions that night on a spiral that began with the death of his grandfather, who he called his best friend just a few weeks earlier. He also said he had just lost a close friend of his who had just committed suicide. The deaths of people so close to him had caused him to lose himself and commit a crime that he now regrets.
Those close to Toshelle believe her biggest mistake was her inability to say no to a man she was too eager to have a relationship with.
I think she just really wanted to be loved, and not that her family didn't love her, but, she wanted that, I want to go on social media and show my man, and, I think she was just missing that, and she wanted it so bad that anybody could have came along and swept her off her feet.
Destined to be.
She was very beautiful. She carried herself like a woman. Men loved her.
She wanted to be a wife. She was always looking for love. The police officers came in, they were very kind, but I could tell that something was seriously wrong.
They find a female laying at the bottom of the stairs, curled up in the fetal position, not moving. A male lying on the couch, bleeding severely.
They go upstairs with their guns drawn to check all the rooms.
There were 3 witnesses.
I just knew he was the devil right then and there.
When he was clear, he was the best guy around. When he was on the drugs, there was an evil in his eyes.
You are my everything. Without you, I can't breathe.
He went to the house, he looked in through the window, and he flipped out.
She broke my heart, so I blew hers out.
Colorado Springs is about 70 miles south of Denver.
Colorado Springs area in the 90s was heavily military. There is a U.S. Olympic Training Center here. The U.S. Olympic Committee was based right here in Colorado Springs for quite a while. And they built a really state-of-the-art training center. So they trained all kinds of different athletes.
On February 4th, 1993, Colorado Springs Police Dispatch receives a panicked 911 call from a townhome on Vail Pass Drive.
The police department received a notification about 1:58 a.m. of a domestic violence disturbance at this location.
Moments later, a second call comes in. This time, the caller reports gunfire.
That's updated to shots being fired. When that happens, you have a lot more units responding.
Police arrive and they're responding to a shots fired call. They need to secure the scene first, so they have their guns drawn.
The door was open, so they enter the residence. They find a female laying at the bottom of the stairs. She's curled up in the fetal position, not moving. They observe a male. He is bleeding severely on the couch, but he is still breathing.
They ask, who did this? And the only thing that he can say is, help me.
With both victims suffering from what appear to be life-threatening injuries, paramedics work quickly to get them into ambulances.
With all of this going on, the police are still very cautious. They begin to climb the stairs with their guns drawn because they're not sure if the suspect is still in the home or not.
They go upstairs to check all the rooms and make sure that the suspect is no longer there.
Instead, they find the unexpected.
They'd noticed 3 children in one of the rooms.
We stayed in the room. The police officers came in. They were very kind. They looked like, everybody was very distraught. I could tell that something was seriously wrong in a lot of their faces.
At the same time, a woman, Gwen Watson, shows up at the scene.
Gwen did leave the residence to go call 911 to get police response. She comes running back in after police are on scene.
Gwen tells police that she does know the victims in the home, that the woman at the bottom of the stairs is Pam Edwards, her friend, and that Frederick Hill, he was the man who they found on the couch.
Gwen says the boy is her son. 2 young girls, 8-year-old Lamaya and 7-year-old Tanea, belong to Pam.
It was me, Tanea, Gwen, and Robert. You can go through so many experiences in your life, right? A lot of memories, a lot of things. Some things you remember, some things you don't. But that kind of trauma just don't never leave. It doesn't. It's there.
Pamela Edwards was born on January 14, 1967, in Winona, Mississippi.
And it was 7 of us, 4 girls, 3 boys, and my mother. We left Mississippi when I was 13, so we ended up living there in Colorado. Pam, let me tell you, she just was a joy. And when she was a life in people's life, everybody loved her. Even when she was small to when she was growing up. Everybody loved being around Pam.
As a teenager, Pam fell in love for the first time. Motherhood followed.
I was military, and majority of the time, I wasn't around, but I knew she was in love with him. I knew she was in love with him.
Lamaya was born in 1984, followed by Tanea the following year.
She was the mother. And, at a young age, you really don't know much about caring, but she cared for her kids.
Growing up with her was fun. We would have fun times. She used to like to build tents and play like Army Force and do crazy things with us.
She was always full of adventures. There's always having something going on. If we were walking up the stairs, she would have a little cute song to go up the stairs to. She would make a song about cleaning the room. Everything was like a song and dance with this lady. That's my mom.
Pam's relationship with the girl's father didn't last, but her dedication to her kids did not waver.
She worked. That's one thing she always did was work. She was going to provide and make sure that they have a home.
She was a nurse today, and she loved her patients like they were her family. and they loved her.
She always came home and spoke about them. Sometimes she would cry when some of them passed away. Like, she was really, really a caring person, and she loved what she did.
Despite her busy schedule, Pam paid careful attention to her appearance.
She was like a Marilyn Monroe. She was fashionista. You never caught her off guard. I mean, she was always together.
She wanted to be a wife. She wanted a family, so she was always looking for love in a man all the time. Even though she had me and my sister, she always wanted, you know, the father.
On October 21st, 1990, 23-year-old Pam married an aspiring basketball player named Eugene Edwards.
She liked the guys that were very athletic.
He was like on his way to being a professional basketball player. He played in college, he won CBA, and like basketball was his life. My stepdad was amazing. They loved him, and he loved my mom too. They were young. They had a young, beautiful love.
But after 3 years of marriage, Eugene's busy career took a toll.
He was traveling for the NBA and doing all those, and he had women always at his heels. They would take breaks often. They separated, but it was like he was still trying to come back. They were still trying to work on it, but I think both of them were seeing other people. She went to the gym all the time. She always used to go after work. She would work out and stay fit. That's where she met Jamal.
He is a boxer at the Olympic Training Center. He was very athletic, tall, handsome. He was an Olympic hopeful, and she was really into him.
We all called him Jamal. That's what he was introduced to us by. But his name was Sammy Lee Denson.
I just remember thinking he was a giant, and he was really like cool, like automatically joking with us. And he took us to the carnival. We rode rides together. She was seeing Jamal and still trying to figure out what she wanted to do in her marriage.
But for Jamal, there was no question. He was in love.
When Pam walked in the room, I mean, people just crowded her. I mean, men loved her. She was beautiful. She was very beautiful. She carried herself like a woman.
But in February of 1993, 26-year-old Pam is being rushed by ambulance to a local hospital after suffering multiple gunshot wounds.
When I first arrived on scene, I also found out that there were 3 children present and an adult female present upstairs. I learned that the adult female had 1 child up there, and the other 2 children were the children of Pam Edwards.
I remember him telling me, like, you know, we all have guns, you know, you're safe. All those people out there, they have guns, you know, we're gonna protect you. So I remember them being like, making me feel really safe. I felt safe as soon as they came.
They isolated us all in one room, in my mom's room, upstairs. We were in that room, it felt like days and hours. They wouldn't let us come down because it was a crime scene.
We didn't want to bring them down because they would have had to pass right over the worst contaminated area of the scene, blood contamination of the scene, and it would have been a little more traumatic than we were willing to put these kids through. Officers are securing the scene, 1, to protect the scene from being contaminated, and 2, to protect our witnesses, the kids and Gwen, and those were our primary witnesses, and also in case the guy comes back.
Colorado Springs police are on the scene of a shooting. Victims 26-year-old Pamela Edwards and 25-year-old Frederick Hill have been rushed to nearby hospitals. Soon after investigators arrive, they get an update from hospital staff.
1 went to one hospital, 1 went to the other hospital. Frederick Hill was being treated for multiple gunshot wounds. He would hopefully be a witness if he survived.
But Pam Edwards will never tell her story.
The female victim, which was identified as Pam Edwards, had been pronounced dead by the time she had arrived at the hospital.
Pam suffered 4 gunshot wounds.
One was described as a perforating wound to the arm. A bullet had passed through the hand. One was described as a penetrating wound to the chest where it entered the body but didn't exit. And a third was identified as a perforating wound to the abdomen, exiting through the backside, the bottom, the rear. The wound that was in their chest had actually perforated the aorta, and that was identified as the kill shot.
Homicide detectives take stock of the townhome where the shooting took place.
Once you enter the scene, you can see where one victim had been shot and had bled excessively on the floor right at the base of the stairs. You could get into the living room area. You could also see where another victim had apparently been shot and either came to rest on the couch or was laying on the couch when he was shot because there was a large quantity of blood in that area. You could see a couple shell casings, small caliber, semi-automatic handgun. The shell casings were .380 automatic. The front door was open. It wasn't forced open. There's no damage to indicate it was a kick-in or anything like that.
Investigators believe someone let the assailant in.
Then police needed to interview everybody in the house, and so that was Gwen.
Gwen tells them she'd fallen on hard times, and Pam had taken her in until she got back on her feet.
Gwen and my mom, they became friends from the mutual friend. She had a little son, and she didn't have anywhere to go. I think she left her mom's house, and she needed somewhere to stay.
Gwen tells investigators that earlier in the night, they watched a movie with the kids and then put them to bed.
A short time later, another party came by the name of Kenny. Gwen explained to me that Kenny was a party she knew as Frederick Kenneth Hill. He'd go by Frederick, he'd go by Kenny. He was the second victim in the case.
At some point in the night, Gwen reports that she went upstairs to make a phone call and left Frederick and Pam downstairs.
She then hears banging at the door, saying, "Let me in." She tells us by the voice that she's hearing, she knows it to be Jamal.
Gwen tells police that Jamal is a 6'4" man who is also Pam's boyfriend. And before Gwen knows it, she hears at least 5 gunshots go off in the house.
After not hearing something for a little bit of time, she's hoping Jamal has left. She thinks he has because she hasn't heard anything, so she goes down to check. She sees Pam crumpled down at the bottom of the stairs, laying in a fetal position. She can hear the person she identified as Kenny kind of making some sounds. She sees Kenny laying on the couch that had a lot of blood on his leg.
She rushes back upstairs, gets on the phone, calls 911, but she's worried that Jamal might still be in the house and could hear her if she speaks on the phone, so she hangs up. Then she's worried that, 911 might call back and Jamal might hear the phone ring, so she unplugs the phone. She knows she needs help, so she runs out of the house, goes to a neighbor to call 911.
As Gwen finishes her story, one of Pam's daughters speaks up.
Lamaya, the 8-year-old, she tells police, "Well, I saw things."
I was literally on the foyer of the townhome, and I was at the top, and I was looking down, watching.
In February 1993, Colorado Springs detectives are investigating the fatal shooting of 26-year-old Pamela Edwards. Pam's daughters tell investigators they were awakened by arguing.
Frederick Kenneth Hill and my mother and Gwen were all awake downstairs before I went to sleep. It was like a heated conversation between Kenny and Gwen, because it was like some loud talking going on, but I didn't know, exactly what was being said.
She also advised that there was a relationship between Gwen and Frederick. She describes him as being intoxicated and arguing.
And my mom was like, "You guys can't have this going." And my mother was trying to get him to calm down.
Gwen ends up going upstairs and is talking to some friends on the phone while Pam and Frederick are hanging out down in the living room.
Tanea says she fell asleep, but Lamaya was still awake a few minutes later when she heard pounding on the front door.
Boom, 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 boom. My mom's like, hold on a minute.
Lamaya was awake and did hear some of the commotion going on downstairs. She went to the top of the stairs and looked down.
And I was at the top and I was looking down watching, and my mother opened the door. He's you trying to mess with this guy? She's like, no, Jamal. And I just remember watching like the first bullet. I mean, I watched the first bullet and she was trying to put her hand to protect herself. And then he shot again, then he turned the gun on Kenny.
Jamal fled through the front door.
And I was just standing there screaming and yelling. Screaming, you know, mommy. But I was in real life shock. Nobody knows what that means. Like real life shock. Where you want to move and your body cannot even move. Like you want to run and your body can't even run. The only thing that I was able to do was scream. My mom was still laying there and she was breathing really heavy and Kenny was screaming for help. He was like, please, hurry up, please. Please help me, please.
Lamaya rushed back to her sister in the bedroom.
I remember my sister running, saying, Mom's dead, Tanea, Mom's dead. And I'm like, what? I just was frozen, like, what? She's dead. And I got up and we went to the edge of the stairs and I saw her. And she was curled up in a fetal position. It was a lot of blood coming from up underneath her. And it looked like she was trying to talk, but it was blood coming from her mouth as well. It looked like she was trying to tell us to go back upstairs. I ran to the bottom of the stairs and she tried to cover my eyes and I just ran to my mom. I was trying to help her. Mm-hmm.
Tanaya told police that while she was downstairs, Jamal actually came back in the house and went upstairs. Tanaya also went upstairs to hide in her room, but she was able to see what was going on.
He ran upstairs and he had an extra pair of clothes and he changed the clothes that he had on and he left.
He went to the trouble of changing his clothes when he was still at Pam's house, but he put his blue Olympic jacket back on.
Then investigators noticed something clutched in Lamaya's tiny hand.
This letter from Jamal to Pam is clearly discussing a recent breakup, how it's torturing Jamal, how he wants to be back with her, and how difficult this process has been for him.
Jamal describes his obsession with Pam and how his uncertainty is becoming unbearable.
You are my everything. Without you, I can't breathe. You are the one who just fills my day.
It was even signed Jamal, or J with a couple hyphens.
Gwen and the girls tell investigators that this wasn't the first time Jamal was violent with Pam.
Gwen described this relationship as happening for about 1.5 years. And the relationship with Jamal and Pam starting out very well, but that things became quite turbulent and that especially in the last few months, things had really started to break down.
I'll never forget when I met him, he brought a bag of Cheetos and some Mountain Dew when he walked in our house. And I just knew he was the devil right then and there.
We were at one of his boxing matches and he came out of the ring and started fighting the guys that were sitting and watching the fight because he thought my mother and them were giving each other the eye. And he beat up 2 of those guys at one time. And yeah, it was so crazy. The whole boxing match got canceled and they had to call the police and he was just oh, it was so scary. And then after we went to the hotel room and I think that's the first time I witnessed her getting beat up by him.
Jamal was the type of, oh, I'm sorry, Pam, with the gifts and things like that. So it'd be, oh, Pam, I got this for you, I got that. So it would always be like a type of gift to wing his way back in to get into her life. And then a week or two later, then the beatings start.
There was one time he went to jail for beating her up real bad, gave her black eyes, and broke her arm.
Pam had enough. She filed a restraining order.
Restraining orders are obviously, they're only as good as the piece of paper they're written on, because if the guy's not going to buy it doesn't mean anything. It's not going to get up and protect you. This appeared to be a domestic violence homicide.
Investigators immediately launch a manhunt for Sammy Denson, aka Jamal.
We were able to positively identify who Jamal was because of what Amaya had told me. She stated that yes, everybody knew him by Jamal, but she knew him as Sammy Denson also because that's the name he used when he was boxing.
And so the dispatch airs a description of the suspect. They air that they're looking for a 6'4" black man, about 200 pounds, around 27 years old, who is wearing a black Olympic jacket.
Before the hunt has time to amp up, another disturbing call comes into 911.
We're still processing the scene and preparing things when the police department received a telephone call from a party who made a very simple statement as, I shot those two people. And that started a whole nother ball rolling.
Colorado Springs police are still at the townhome where Pam Edwards lost her life in a fatal shooting just hours earlier, when another 911 call comes into dispatch.
This 911 operator received a telephone call approximately 3:50 in the morning from a party who basically stated that he was sorry that he had shot the people at Vail Pass Drive. That was our crime scene, so it was pretty much sure we're probably talking to the suspect. Before she's able to get any information, he hangs up the phone.
Police then trace that call, and they find that the call was made from a payphone at a Loaf and Jug on Pikes Peak Avenue.
Officers were dispatched to go to that location. They were provided the suspect information that we had. It was the clothing description. And one of the particular items of clothing description was a Olympic Training Center jacket. There was an officer just happened to be close, so he pulled in. He didn't see anybody at the payphone. He did notice that in this little convenience store, they had a little seating area to where you buy some food and sit down and eat or drink a cup of coffee, and there were 3 people there.
They notice that one gentleman stands up, and they notice, hey man, he kind of fits the description. Plus, he has on Olympic gear.
As more patrol cars arrive, the man steps outside.
They have a bunch of officers, and they are approaching very carefully. That's a big guy, and he's a boxer. He's a pre-Olympic boxer. He is in stellar shape. That means he's going to be strong, he's going to be fast, he's going to be mean, and he's going to know how to throw a punch.
They want to talk to him, and when they try to stop him, they say, if you move, you are dead, but he still decides to take off. The police are behind him about 10 or 15 yards, and as he's running, he's able to jump 2 fences.
They finally catch up to him at a house, and it takes, at that point, 10 police officers to bring him down.
Upon his arrest, he's searched for the officers. In the course of that arrest, they took everything from him to include some suspected crack cocaine, drug paraphernalia, a pipe and screen used for smoking crack cocaine.
Police don't find any weapons on Sammy Denison.
He is immediately transported to the Major Crimes Unit of the Police Department for the purpose of an interview.
Sammy was charged with 1 count of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder in the first degree and 2 counts of crime of violence.
They also file 1 count of possession of a Schedule II controlled substance for the crack that they found.
So while the suspect was being arrested, there were still, of course, some police officers at the Loaf and Jug. They were again, processing the scene. And the two gentlemen that were with the suspect, they approached the police and introduced themselves.
Ruben Caro was the bondsman who had bonded Sammy out of jail on his last incident. Richard Wood was the coach for Sammy Denson.
So we told them who we were, how we were associated with Sammy. And they said, well, we need you to come down to the station and answer some questions.
At the station, Richard Wood gives investigators background on the man he believed was bound for Olympic gold.
Sammy Denson is his boxing name because you have to use your given name that is on your passport ID. And that was his given name, and that's what he had to use. He wanted the Muslim faith, and that's what he adopted from Sammy to Jamal. I had the #1 gym in Colorado at the time, and he just walked in. He advanced so quickly. He had won the state tournaments. He beat everybody in the state, the regions, and then went to the nationals all in the first year. He was on track to go to the Olympics. In 1993, he was the 3rd ranked heavyweight in the nation.
But Sammy veered off course.
We didn't know when he started the drugs. He wasn't on them when he first started. When he was clear, he was the best guy around. When he was on the drugs, you could tell because there was an evil in his eyes.
The day after the shooting death of Pamela Edwards, police have arrested her boyfriend, Sammy Denson, aka Jamal. While Sammy is processed, Colorado Springs detectives question his boxing coach.
He could have been, from all statements made, a contender in the Olympics, but he let two things get a hold of him. One, drugs, and two, his inability to handle personal problems.
Richard Wood explains that he got a panicked call from Sammy in the middle of the night, just after the shooting.
And it was between midnight and 2 o'clock. I got the call, and it was Sammy, and he was talking incoherently and everything.
Sammy's friend and bail bondsman, Ruben Caro, was in the car with him.
And Ruben said, Dickie, he said serious stuff. And I said, all right, you can pick me up. And I got in the back seat, and Sammy was in the front, and Ruben was driving. The energy when I got in the car was just off the charts. The anxiety, the nervousness, and him being nervous and moving and everything, plus the fact that he was on drugs, and he was moving and jerking and everything, and Ruben was driving with his eyes just fixed on the road, just scared to death himself. And I got mad because he was waving the gun around and scaring me that it could go off and everything because he wasn't being very lucid. He was just completely gone. And so when I slapped him and said, Sammy, put the gun away, he listened right away and stuck the gun right in his pocket.
They convinced Sammy to stop at the convenience store to talk through what had him so upset.
So we went in and we sat down in the little booth there, and we were talking and everything, and I said, what happened? And he told me that he went to our house.
When he went to the house, he looked in through the window and he saw Freddie sitting on the couch with Pam. He flipped out.
He sees what he thinks is a makeout session between Frederick and Pam.
When he seen them on the couch together, he said he lost his mind.
He knocks on the door. Pam asks who it is, and he says, it's me, and that's when he busts through the door.
He knocked her down, he put the gun to her heart and pulled the trigger. And then he shot Fred, too.
Sammy was determined to get revenge.
He told me, he said, she broke my heart, so I blew hers out. Exact words.
Ruben and Richard told Sammy he needed to call 911 right away.
I said, we've got to call to see if she's okay. We've got to report it. I said, Sammy, you need to go out and make the phone call. And so he went out and made the phone call.
Moments later, the police closed in.
I'm looking out at the street, and all of a sudden there's one cop car. Then there was another cop car. Then I see like 5 cop cars just driving around the convenience store, but none of them are stopping or anything. And then all of a sudden, one stops and pulls out. And I told Sammy, I said, you got to get out of here.
They also stated that they had seen the weapon and that it was on his body at the time that he took flight.
Investigators send officers to see if Sammy dumped the gun when he ran away.
It was imperative that we try to find this weapon for public safety and evidence. Multiple officers, including 2 K-9 units, were dispatched to the area for the purpose of doing article searches. We were unable at that time. No officer came across the weapon, and we did not recover it during the course of this investigation.
Back at the station, detectives sit down with Sammy.
I advised Sammy of his rights per Miranda and asked him whether he understood those rights, which he stated he did. I then asked if he was willing to waive those rights and grant me an interview. He said no in a roundabout way. He said he was high and didn't want to get himself in any trouble. Once he says he will not conduct an interview with me, all attempts to interview him are ended at that point, and that's what happened.
On February 9th, less than a week after the shooting, Frederick Kenny Hill has recovered enough from his injuries to give a statement.
Frederick Hill was wounded by 2 shots. One that passed through his forearm and entered his upper chest, and the second one grazed his forehead.
Officers go to the hospital to interview Frederick Hill and attempts to get a positive identification on the suspect.
And I show him a photographic lineup of 6 individuals. He's able to positively identify the person I knew as Sammy Denson as being the person that was in the house and actually shot him.
A few weeks later, Sammy Denson's legal team submits a plea of not guilty.
They don't have a lot of forensic evidence. They don't have DNA, and they certainly don't have the murder weapon. They don't have the gun, even though they spent hours that night searching for it. What they do have is really impactful eyewitness statements. But the fact that some of these witness statements were from children under the age of 10 could call their credibility and their reliability into question.
In August of 1993, Sammy Denson goes on trial for the first-degree murder of Pamela Edwards and the attempted murder of Frederick Kenny Hill. The prosecution presents a long list of eyewitnesses.
Gwen Watson, she was able to share, again, with the jury this history of abuse. And of course, she was able to tell the jury what she observed that night, that she saw Jamal or Sammy in the house shooting Pam and killing her. Frederick Hill, who was able to describe viscerally for the jury the savagery that he endured that night when he was shot 3 times. Ruben Caro, the bondsman, and Richard Wood also testified and talked to the jury about that car ride in the hours after the shooting, how Sammy admitted guilt to him and how they had to convince him to call police.
But the most powerful moments come when Pam's daughters take the stand.
They were still very, very young, and they showed up dressed in what looked like church dresses. Tanaya took the witness stand, her feet dangling and unable to reach the floor. And knowing that Sammy was sitting not far from her, she was able to calmly describe what she had seen that night, the night her mom was murdered.
I remember they asked, is the person that hurt your mom here in the courtroom? And I pointed to him. When I did that, he just looked down. He wouldn't look at me, he just looked down.
Although I was young, I just wanted to be a warrior for my mom and stand strong. I just remember that going in that courtroom and him just being heartless. Not a heart or a care in this world. Like 2 little girls. You were such a coward. You took a mother from 2 little girls. You coward man.
For the defense, they had to attack these witness statements. And really, they just tried to show that nobody really knew what happened that night.
When you can't attack the evidence, defense will attack the individuals.
The defense also wants to make sure the jury understands that the murder weapon here hasn't been found. That even though the gun supposedly was with Sammy the entire time, up to and including in that car with Ruben, somehow the gun has never been found. They try to say that that shows that the burden of proof that the prosecutor hasn't been met.
The jury deliberated about 4.5 hours when they returned with a verdict of guilty to 1 count of first-degree murder for killing Pam Edwards, 1 count of attempted first-degree murder in the shooting of Frederick Hill, 2 counts of crime of violence, and 1 count of possession of Schedule II controlled substance.
When they told me that Jamal was gonna spend his life in prison without parole, that was definitely his payback. He deserves to be there. He deserves to spend his life there. He tortured children.
2 months later, he is sentenced to life without parole on all charges. Over a year later, Sammy's weapon is found.
On May 25th, 1994, Colorado Springs police were again called by a resident of the neighborhood where Sammy Denson was ultimately arrested. This neighbor was trimming his rose bushes and he recognized it as a gun. He remembered from when that search and arrest happened that police were looking to see if anyone had found a weapon, and so he wanted to call police immediately.
He definitely wanted to get revenge for her playing with his heart, or that he felt she was playing with him, you know, having another man in the house. You know, this is what happens when you play with me. I told you to stay away from other men.
I believe that she was so openly and free-hearted, she didn't know that evil was right there at the door. I don't think she even had the mindset that someone could be so evil because her heart was so big and so free.
Growing up without a mother was the most toughest thing. We had a grandmother and we had aunts that were there, but not having her around was so tough. We had to learn to do almost everything by ourselves.
I keep my mother's memory alive through me, my daughters, my sisters, my nephews. She's in all of us.